Greetings. This devotion is for the 13th of June, and our reading for this day is from the 12th chapter of St. Matthew and verses 1 through 8. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. When the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." And he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God and ate the bread of the presence, which was not lawful for him or his companions to eat, but only for the priests. Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple break the Sabbath and yet are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. But if you had known what this means, 'I desire mercy and not sacrifice,' you would have not condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." So we've got a few things going on here. Most certainly the Pharisees and the scribes did not like what Jesus was doing and how people were following him and not them. And that's a piece that is consistent. But the other piece I think we need to know as background, the law, over history, the Israelites fell into slavery, were conquered, were in captivity, all these things, and they interpreted that over time to be because they didn't follow the laws of God that were laid out in what we understand as the Old Testament law books, Leviticus, Numbers, some of those. And so if somebody was breaking the law, there was a feel that they were going against God's good graces. So we've got these two things going on here, right? And of course the other piece is the third. They didn't buy that Jesus was the Son of God by any means. Right? So how do we live, though, with all of that, understanding the background? And do we live by law? How often have we heard we live in a nation of laws, right? Or do we live by the love of God? Now, I'm going to suggest we need to live by the love of God. And to really live by the love of God every day, okay, that's tougher than living by the law. The love of God helps us and directs us to think about each other all the time. It's actually a higher standard than the law could ever be, because what we're always having to think is about how do our actions affect another soul. What do we do that affects the person down the line, that affects our grandchildren, that affects the person around the corner? All of these kinds of things, the law of God, if you will, or the love of God, directs us to. You can see it is a much higher standard than simply, well, I didn't break the law, I'm okay. Right? And because that's what leads us to, well, yeah, I was going a little quicker in that speed zone, but I didn't get caught, so everything's all right. Right? That's living by law versus love of God. So there it is. We could trash the law if we are committed to live by God's love. it puts us at a higher standard. And it may mean at times, if we're hungry on a Sunday, we might pluck some wheat. But we're always going to be living in a way that benefits our neighbor. Please join with me in saying the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.